Hello everybody, welcome back to my television review series. Today we'll be discussing Power Season 4. Stars original show, executive produced by Curtis Jackson, 50 Cent, popular American rapper and global rapper. So you know how we'll do on this one. I will give you my overall impressions, then a grade. If you have not seen the show and would like to, you're going to want to turn off the video. There will be spoiler alerts. We will be discussing the plot synopsis and character development of the people and of the plot, and then we will be discussing major themes, question mark. In crime drama, no new major themes. So, what did season 3 end up as? Right when James St. Patrick was getting arrested for the killing of Agent Greg Knox, and Tariq St. Patrick being kidnapped by Jukebox and Kanan. And so, what do I think overall? I think season 3 I gave a B-. Same kind of deal with this one. I thought the characterizations is much stronger than season 1 and season 2. Thankfully we had a lot less sex scenes this one. Again, I like boobies as much as the next guy, but kind of took away from the tone of the piece with season 3 and season 2, where just like every other scene someone having sex. It's like, come on, let's do some more crime. So way less sex scenes, I thought was a benefit. I like the characterizations. I think pretty much all of the characters are much more structured into who the characterizations are for the roles. I thought the plot moved very well after about, again, episode 5, which was similar to season 3. Slow plot development through the first kind of 4 or 5 episodes, and then a lot of plot development. So again, these are hour-long episodes. The season was 10 episodes altogether. So I'm going to bump this up to a B. Last one I think was a B-, but I thought this one was thoroughly entertaining. Definitely better for the crime tone drama than just having everyone have sex every other scene. The characterizations were stronger, and the plot moved very well after about episode 4 or 5. So that's my overall thoughts. I liked it. Again, the violence, the presentation of the crime as well done. It's gory at some points, but not. I don't think it's overdone. And just a lot of different things happening. So overall, very entertaining, but not in the well-done range. So if you've not seen the season and would like to, you're going to want to shut off this video now because we will be discussing the plot. So, start off, and again, for the first, really, again, 4 episodes, where we have James St. Patrick's in jail. We meet this guy, Tony Teresi, who's in there with him, kind of calls him out, kind of knows who he is, knows he's Ghost. We have our lawyer, Joe Proctor, trying to help James. I thought Joe Proctor was a good character, just his lines were delivered well, I thought the acting was done well by him. But really throughout, there wasn't really any characterizations that were really like off-putting. Maybe Kate Egan, maybe Tommy's mom is a little off-putting, just the crazy coked out mom just doesn't do much for me. And I really think the rest of the characters played the roles well. So we start off in jail. James is just, again, he didn't actually kill Greg Knox. So we have Mike Sandoval, who's again like the lead task force for the Lobos. And we killed Lobos in season 2 or 3, but now we're really just trying to figure out who killed Greg Knox, who is the mole. And James is adamant that he is innocent, which he is innocent, but guilty on a lot of other crimes. Angela, his old lover, again, I'm glad the relationship's pretty much severed from the romance part. That was a drag in the earlier seasons. Jamie and Angie, it's just like, let's get some more Kanan in there, and some more Jukebox. Let's just get some more crime stuff going on. There's a little more plot. So you have that for sure. So he's in jail for a while. He's getting picked on by Marshall Clyde, who's this tall, skinny black dude. He's got a line that we'll discuss later that absolutely had me laughing. Had a nigga week. So he's in jail. He's getting picked on by Marshall Clyde. Joe Proctor is outside trying to get James free. Joe becomes kind of like indicted or knows some things. There's like a Homeland Security agent that has a tape from season 3 that was good friends with Greg. So the Homeland Security dude is trying to free Greg's name. And really for the first about 4 episodes, you have James in jail trying to figure out how to get him out, and then Tommy kind of running the drug business. Not much crime development in the first 4 episodes. He like runs over one dude, breaks his legs. You get a pretty gory scene with like the femur just like sticking out of his legs after he runs him over with a car. But again, just not much true plot development for about the first half of the show. But the characterizations weren't off-putting. It wasn't like I was like, oh, hurry up and get through this episode or whatnot. But just for an hour episode, I thought you could have moved it along a little quicker. So you have, again, the Mike Sandoval leading the team. You have a new guy that comes in, John Mack, which is a popular actor I recognize from a bunch of things. Kind of put his face on, the role on that I know him the best from. The tall Asian dude, John Mack, very popular actor. Don't forget his name. But he's now like the head of the task force. Mike Sandoval, Cooper Sacks, Angela Valdez, and there's another black guy. I forget, Howard maybe. But the other black guy on the FBI that are basically all just trying to figure out who the mole is. And Angela had some relationship with James where it's like they're both kind of playing each other. So James had broken in, his fingerprints were there, and so they're worried about getting the video surveillance to say James, why did you have Greg's DNA under your fingernails? And so they had a couple 20, 30, 40 minutes of them trying to figure out to get the security footage to show when Greg pulled over James and didn't record it or whatever. And so that's really what's going on there. Again, in prison, James meets Tony Teresi, who is an old gangster, and basically says if you don't pay this amount, $20,000 to this address, I'm going to out you to everybody. Teresi has life sentences, so he has nothing to lose. And he's going to say, James, if you don't help pay my wife's cancer bills, then I'm going to let everyone know who you are, and you're going to be convicted for being Ghost. And so the funny line from Marshall Clyde, again, I thought this was hilarious. So Marshall Clyde, again, he's a correctional officer. He's kind of roughing up James, picking on him. Joe Proctor's telling James to not react whatsoever because it'll just be worse because he's being the upstanding businessman. Angela knows James is guilty on a lot of other crimes. He doesn't have hard evidence, but she's still not sure. She goes through some character development of whether James is guilty or not for Greg's murder. Greg also being a former lover of Angela. And so one day in the weight room, Marshall Clyde holds down the bench press on James, choke him, threaten him. Next time he comes in there, the prisoners clear out, Marshall Clyde comes over. He starts telling him off. He's like, what if you stay in here all day and I saw your fine wife and those little nigglets? He has a line where he literally says nigglets for young black people, and I lost it. I fucking lost it. And so, for crime shows, like I said, typically I like to be more serious. Again, I don't like the broken relationships, but I don't like the angsty emotional shit at all. But typically I'm not a big fan of just one-liner jokes for action. For whatever reason, this show works for me. Tommy's lines get me. The little niglet line, I was losing it. Really laughing out loud, actually. But so then James is not too happy about those. There's a lot of comments, but he basically he beats him over the head with a weight and literally cracks his head open, bleeding, brains everywhere. So pretty violent scene. But Marshall Clyde, when he said nigglets, I fucking lost it. But he gets killed, and that's episode 3 or 4. But Tony Teresi helps him frame it. So Tony Teresi, Marshall Clyde, the guard, and one other dude are in there to kill or at least just seriously attack James. And so once James kills Marshall Clyde, Teresi kills another dude, and they make it look up like the Marshall Clyde and this other dude got in a fight, and then the dude killed Clyde and then hung himself. So Teresi helps James cover up the actual murder, which again was a pretty stark plot development because you're in there, after 4 or 5 episodes of James trying to be this upstanding businessman, it blows this dude's head away with a fucking metal plate. It's oh, that's not gonna do too good for the murder trial. But Tony Teresi helps him cover it up, and probably about episode 4 or 5, James gets the case thrown out. I don't know if it's because of the fingernails or if the check. There's some check. James gets a $2 million loan from the security company from the Milan that got killed at the end of season 3, and so there's some back and forth there. But whatever reason, he gets released probably about episode 4 or 5. But it's not like the charges aren't completely dismissed. It's just enough to let him go or something. I forget exactly what happens as to why they let him out initially. But why that's happening again. Tommy's trying to run the drug game. The Primaris ain't doing a good enough job, so they just have trouble keeping organized. He gets called to Chicago, which is the head Serbian dude. And so they go there. He thinks it's just for a business meeting. And then he's they knock him over the head, put him in a trunk, take him to a gravesite where there's a grave dug. And they're ready to kill him. And there's a Peter Petar, Serbian dude. Petar is had told, who was the Serbian Connect in New York, and had told James and Tommy that the killing Milan was sanctioned by their organization in Chicago. It turns out it wasn't. So Tommy's there on his knees ready to get killed, and basically the Serbian checks out with his Tatiana that Petar did in fact tell Tommy that the hit was cleared, so they killed Petar there, and Tommy goes back to New York. There's really the only big major like crime developments on Tommy's side that I remember through about episode 5. James gets back out. He needs money. Tariq had been kidnapped by Kanan and Jukebox and Ray Ray. Jukebox and Ray Ray are police officers. They're dirty cops. But at the very beginning of the episode, again, remember he's kidnapped, but he like plays it off like it's a joke. And so he goes back to Tasha into the big penthouse apartment, and there's no much more development about being kidnapped directly from the end of season 3. However, Tariq, I think, is good development, at least for crime drama. But he starts getting into crime. He starts hanging out with Kanan, who he knows is Slim. And they basically just start hitting licks. Tariq goes to a nice school. He will go to his friend's house and let the crew come in with the security code, and they'll rob the place, and he'll get kickbacks from the money. So he gets into crime this season. But he's really doing that, and so about halfway, right when James gets out, it's like James gets picked up or kidnapped or taken hostage by Kanan, and Tariq gets re-kidnapped by Jukebox. Jukebox is holding Tariq in this place. James and Kanan kind of talk about stuff a little bit on the way over there. They need to get money. James just got out of the pen, so he has no money. So James has to rob his own operation. So they go in there and they rob Black Grimace or whatever. He's like just one of the henchmen. But Kanan kills one of James's guy while they're robbing their own place. I forget what that guy's name was, but he's out of the picture. But when they go to, I thought it was rather just kind of like weak, or could have been stronger, could have done something different with the plot. When they go to Kanan and the plan is Kanan and Jukebox are longtime friends, and they're going to kill both Tariq and James once they get the money. And because remember, James had set up Kanan to go to jail for 10 years, and Tariq is kind of got like friendly with Kanan, but Kanan was going to kill Tariq in season 3 anyway. And so they get to the house, and then they have kind of like a standoff: James, Kanan, Tariq, and Jukebox. And Kanan ends up killing Jukebox. So it's not really, again, just in terms of plot development and characterization, it wasn't really strong as to why Kanan would flip there. Seemed like a pretty rough and tumble dude throughout the whole thing. He killed his son in a couple seasons ago. So I just thought it could have, on the car ride over with James and Kanan talking, there's no reason to me as to, like, no line or revelation as to why Kanan would turn on Jukebox. Regardless, Jukebox gets killed. Kanan disappears with the money. They think he's out of town again, but James and Tariq go home, and so that was another big development. In this season, you have again Simon Stern plays a role again, just about building businesses. They have some, again, I hate the political stuff, but they have some like business economic development thing, and there's a councilman Tate, who's got like some ties to the streets, manipulates James somehow, like gets him a better contract with Simon, but now the councilman wants kickbacks for like helping somebody else in the street or something. So kind of some development there would definitely develop into something. About halfway through the season, they do find out that Mike Sandoval is the rat. Both Angela, like the whole FBI team, basically set him up. Mike goes to shoot Angela. Angela shoots Mike first in the shoulder. And once Mike gets taken into custody, when James gets out of prison, the Tony Teresi who covered up for him is like, here's a phone, you have to give this to Tommy. And it's the premonition or very insinuation of that scene is that Tony Teresi is Tommy's father. And turns out he is. And so Tony's like, hey, I'll keep covering you about the murdering Clyde as long as you get a phone to Tommy. And so they're going on out there. They're doing some business deals as well. Next major thing, I kind of forget, just in terms of overall, but the Mike Sandoval. So Mike Sandoval gets picked up. He gets shot once in the shoulder by Angela. The whole FBI squadron's listening. They arrest him, and then Tommy has Tony kill, or maybe not Tony, but somebody in the prison kill Sandoval. So Sandoval gets killed. So with that, you lose, all of the implications where Mike could have, James and Tommy just don't know what Mike knows about the Lobos organization. so they see him as a big liability. Teresi, who's an old-time gangster, multiple life sentences. Tommy's father's like, no problem, and Sandoval gets killed probably about halfway through the season. And so, it's not, we don't really have much investigation into that, I don't believe. But after that, the next thing, well, kind of a big development throughout is Dre. I don't have him up here, but he's kind of plotting to take over kind of like the whole organization. So, Julio gets killed. So the structure, again, Tommy's the Connect, Julio's the distro, and Dre is up-and-coming gangster that really wants to make moves. And so Dre kind of sets up Julio with this, I think the Todos Locos, all crazies, but just a street gang Julio was a part of when he was a kid. And Dre was like, if I deliver Julio to the Todos Locos, then you guys will take care of him, but don't make it look like a hit from your group, because then they'll know, like we both set you up or something. So that happens. Julio, good fight scene. Julio almost takes him out. Kind of rooting for Julio there. He gets this Achilles slit, and then he gets stabbed and dies. And so Julio does get killed, but they cut off his 719, his gang affiliation tattoo, so they know it's a Todos Locos hit. And so Dre's kind of like, he kills the priest. There's a priest, a part of their primeros. There's people that distribute their drugs under the distro. But there's a priest. He gets killed by Dre for basically saying he wants out. But Dre is really plotting. Dre and Cristobal burn down all the drugs. So Tommy's in a tough spot, and he takes all the primeros so he can have his own crew. And Dre is working with the Jimenez cartel, and kind of makes a power play there. And so, really past that, the major development is, so when Tariq is hitting licks with this group, basically they go into this house one time. They're going to rob this chick. One of the dudes is about to rape the woman, and Tariq yells out, the dude's street name is Brains. So he's like, stop, Brains. And then they're like, once the witness knows the name, kind of know what's going to happen next. So they shoot the chick, and Tariq runs out away from the people. So you have Brains and some other street dude, along with Ray Ray and their crew. Ray Ray's the cop. Ray Ray and Jukebox were the cops. Jukebox is now dead, but he's an undercover cop that has some leverage, or he can do police things as well. And so Ray Ray kills both of the two dudes that messed up the lick, and now he is looking for Tariq to kill him as well. And so he has the cousin of Ray Ray. He's kind of like a chick, or like a love interest of Tariq, and get there like late grade school, maybe high school, but I think late grade school really. But the chick Ray Ray sets up Tariq with his cousin, and so basically when the Ray Ray shows up Tariq at a Sadie's Hawkins dance, and he's like, the chick and Tariq is also into lean. He can get that mud this season, so he wants some lean. Comes outside. I think he has a run-in with Ray Ray, but runs away from him. And then Raina had seen Tariq go outside for the dance, and is like, goes out there and confronts the dude. He's like, hey man, I know you're Ray Ray. And so Tariq, probably at the end of episode 8 or 9, sees Ray Ray shoot and kill Raina. So that was a big development. Didn't really see that coming. But the major plot development I thought was interesting and unique and novel was, again, the whole time they're thinking Tasha, James, Tommy, all the big drug dudes are thinking that was certainly had some connection with Jimenez, or with just James's murder trial over Greg Knox or something. But it's all stemmed from the lick that Tariq and his crew kind of messed up. So that's going on there. Another major development probably about halfway through the season, the Homeland Security agent that really wanted to clear Greg's name has this tape where, again, when Ruiz got killed at the end of season 2, and there was something, or season 3, and it has Tommy admitting that Ghost and him killed Lobos without directly naming Ghost as St. Patrick, and then also the audio of Tommy killing Ruiz. And so, to snuff that out, Tommy kills the Department of Defense agent in front of Joe Proctor. And so Joe Proctor's like, no, I'll get rid of the body and I'll get rid of the evidence. Later in the season, again, obviously another premonition where it's like he's not actually going to get rid of the evidence. He's got some sort of leverage on them. So there is a scene where he's putting a laptop in the security deposit box, which is clearly the evidence that he told Tommy he had destroyed. And so that will certainly develop something into season 5, obviously. Again, Kanan you don't really hear from again until after, I don't know, you see him like a couple times in the beginning of the season, then he leaves.
first 4 episodes, and it comes back in like the 8th and 9th one as well. And so he gets attacked by 2 people. Basically, I think Dre is setting him up on this one. Kanan murks the 2 dudes that come to kill him, and so Kanan's pretty much out for Dre. Dre and Tariq have some sort of relationship. Again, Dre's the one that set up Julio. But after Reyna gets killed, and it's all, the gloves are off. The gloves are literally on, but they're going to kill a bunch of people. But James and Tommy, they think it's the Jimenez cartel. They go to the Todos Locos, the dude that killed Julio. The dude admits that he killed Julio. So from that, Tommy knows Dre is setting him up, or now completely against him. And then up until then, Tommy and Dre is like have a good relationship. But they kill a bunch of the Todos Locos. Turns out it wasn't them. They find out that it was Ray Ray. And so you have James and Tommy both after Ray Ray, but also at the same time Tariq is after Ray Ray as well. And so they have a big wake at the nice apartment penthouse for Reyna's passing. Tariq sneaks out with a gun. So you have all 3. The Choppas are en route. So you have Tommy, James, Tasha as well, and Tariq all going to try to find Ray Ray. And so Ray Ray's trying to leave town, skip town. I forget exactly where he gets the address. Tasha gets it from Angela. Tasha gets the area from Angela and sees the car's already there. But by the time James and Tommy get there, Tariq is already upstairs confronting Ray Ray. Ray Ray goes for the gun. The scene cuts away. You see 2 gunshots. And then everybody, James, Tommy, and Tasha all get in there and see that Tariq had killed, what's his name? Ray Ray. So Ray Ray's now dead. A lot of the Jimenezes are dead. Or no, the Todos Locos are dead. And so then after that, again, they're disposing of the clothes. Again, major development of the Reyna killing. And basically, change the clothes. Tariq, I think it'd be, but okay, so after this, Tasha's now also hooking up with another dude. Again, somewhere through the case of James's defense for killing Greg Knox, Joe Proctor is no longer able to represent him. So again, it's another just tall black guy is the new counsel, and he's also boinking Tasha. And so Tasha goes to that guy and was like, I need, basically, it says, if this happened, if someone lost a person closest in their life and then someone did something to do something about that, what would you advise them? He's like, get a lawyer. And then so Tasha pretty much cops to it. She's like, obviously trying to cover up for Tariq, but she's like, the lawyer's like, if James needs a lawyer, she's like, no, it's not James, it's me. And so it's obviously trying to cover up for Tariq. And I just thought you could have done something better with the plot there to try to just pin it on, just have Tariq become full-fledged into the drug game with the family or something. So I thought it could be a little stronger than trying Tasha and then take the blame for it, so we'll see if that develops. But that's really the end of the season. And Lakeisha Grant and Tommy start boinking this season. He's moving some laundering drug money through her weave shop. She doesn't like that. Cooper Sachs is an FBI agent. I think he's got some funny lines. I like him. There's not, besides Kate Egan, there's really not a characterization that's like off-putting to me. But at the end, James and Tommy see Dre meeting with Jimenez and stealing the Primeros, so they know they have to go after Dre. And Kanan is also in the car. So at the very end of the season, you kind of have, again, the season 1 and 2, James and Kanan and Tommy all, and Kanan being their big homie, all on good terms. Season 2 and 3 all on bad terms. Now season 4, at the end of season 4, it looks like they're going to be united in front against Dre. So overall, I thought the plot moved along very well after about episode 4 or 5. First couple episodes weren't off-putting, it just not enough plot development. The characterizations were much stronger for me this time, as opposed to season 1 or season 2. The relationships were a lot better, a lot less toxic, or a lot less scenes of sex or toxicity, or Jamie's and Angie's, or Holly's and Tommy's. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. B, overall, thoroughly entertaining. I'll certainly stick with it. Again, I got Hulu for like $3 a month right now. So at the end of season 4, there's 6 seasons. Season 5 is 10 episodes, and season 6 is 15 episodes. So 25 more episodes after watching 40 already, or I think 38. But again, typically by season 4, 5, or 6 is when things start to decrease. Really not. I think it's pretty strong, honestly, throughout. Certainly as opposed to seasons 1 or 2. Like I said, I thought season 3 was about the same, but less sex scenes, stronger characterizations in terms of the actors knowing their roles and actresses. And I thought the plot moved along very well after about halfway through the season. So overall, very entertaining. Hope you watched, like it. If not, here is my review of Power Season 4. So thank you for watching, and see you on the next one.